Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Algorand. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so in the previous videos we've been discussing the idea of this being a fourth wave. Now it is still possible for us to be within this fourth wave for as long as we stay below this 1475. Now within one of the ideas that we talked about of this being a fourth wave, we talked about the possibility of having a triangle here where this becomes A, B, C, D and E. Now it is also possible that we could potentially put this E wave into this high over here, in which case we could potentially then have already a completed move to the downside. However, it would count better because this move actually does look like 5 waves here as 1, 2, and then we're looking for this as a potential 3, 4, and 5. We're going to go over the 2 different ways of looking at that. Now, if we're looking at this as a breakdown from the triangle, one of the ways we were discussing is that this is 1, 2, 3, and then we're looking for this as a 4th and a 5th. Now, I don't want this 4th to get any bigger, and breaking of this high here of this 1020 would invalidate this, in my opinion. It is already stretching the limits here of this being a fourth wave if this is the case. The thing we do need to be careful of here is that if we do complete into this high here, until we actually break back above this 1191, we need to be cautious that this could also become 1, 2 here, and we could see a deeper sell-off here where this is actually still looking for a third wave. Though at the moment this is not my primary expectation, but we're going to have to keep an eye on it just to see how we react. Now, if we are looking at this as a 5th wave to the downside, so the target box we are looking for here is this 0779 to this 0717 region. Other targets would be this 0.618 here at this 780, and then we do have this 0.382 here at this 852 as a potential truncation point, though it's not very common for us to see a truncation. Now, if we're looking at this as a 5-wave structure looking to develop, invalidation is here at this 1020. We're looking at this as 1, looking for wave 2. Now the wave 2 rejection area here is most commonly between this 786 and this 0.5 region. So if we do see price look to push up here as A, B and C, potentially we could look for price to move back up into this green box area before looking for a rejection and then continuation down. If we do start to push back above this high here at this 2020, it is possible then that we could actually be looking at something slightly more bullish, which we're going to go over in a second. But otherwise, I'm looking for this potential of this break to the downside. Now, we'd only get a confirmation given our current high that we have over here at this 0796 region. If we do start to see a 5-wave structure down into this level, what we would then be looking for would be an additional 4th and a 5th, which would align with pushing us down into this zone, which would also align with if I push this back out here onto the bigger breakdown, moving down towards this 0759 as a potential target. So we have wicked into this box already. We need to see whether this price action starts to move away from here again, or whether we do continue to break down directly in this idea of this 5th wave move. So this remains a valid count for as long as we stay below this 1020. Now we do need to be a little bit careful here that we could have something sneaky playing out here where we could be looking for something more like this, and we're actually still within the 4th wave, because if we have a look at this idea here, you know, if we do see a move back to the upside here, looking to target out this zone of this 1475, which would be a 50% retracement, invalidation of this being a 4th wave is here at this 1785 region. But if we do see something like this white ABC pattern, this could actually look to come back up here and look to flush this A wave high. Now, if we were looking at this, what we'd then be saying is that we'd be looking for something like a 5-wave structure here, where this would become 1, 2, and then we'd be looking for 3, 4, and 5. Most common target areas here as a flat correction would be between this 1236 and this 1618 here, which would be 1425 to 1691. If we do see just a 3-wave move here, however, A, B, and C, and then we do move up towards this 1-to-1 level here of this 1283, it is also possible that we could look at this as W, X, and Y. But yeah, you know, and we need to just be respectful that there is this possibility of a C wave here, but we need to see whether it can actually look to develop, because if we are going to be saying that we want a C wave off this low to the upside, we need to see a 5-wave move. Now, given the current structure that we've got over here, actually just going to remove these 2 higher numbers, we can see that we have come down around about this 50% mark. Now we can argue that within this move here we could have this as 1, This is A, B, and C as a flat correction, and we could be starting to look for a 5-wave structure to the upside. Now, it is also possible that this could just become A, B, and C, and we could just see a move up towards this 1079, in which case it would then become likely that this is becoming 1, 2 here, and then we're going to see that continuation to the downside afterwards. Alternatively here, if we do start to see a bigger 5-wave structure that pushes up towards 1206, what we could then get is that this is 1, 2, we get a bigger 3rd wave up into this zone, 4th and 5th, which would mean that we have a 5-wave move off the low, which would push us up towards 1292 to 1238. If we do see something like this, we do have some target boxes up in this zone between this 1217 and this 1137 that I'm going to be keeping an eye on as potential points that we could see interactions with. But effectively, if we do form a 5-wave structure off these lows where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's going to be very important what happens next, because like I said, if we're looking at this as a triangle and we've had this as a 5th wave and it's actually just completed, what we could then see is that this move could start to trend to the upside, where what we'd be saying is that this could then become an A wave or a wave 1. We'd be looking for a 3-wave move down, looking for this as B or wave 2, and then we'd be looking for continuation to the upside. So it's going to be important. If this is a flat, what we'd expect is that after completing this 5-wave move to the upside, we'd then see price action pushed back down and take the low. If we fail to take this low, then we could start looking for some bullish price action to follow, but we need to see whether we actually first off develop a 5-wave move to the upside like this, or whether we actually look to break down. So this idea remains valid for as long as we stay above this 0820. It is also possible this structure could get a bit more complex, where this becomes A, we get a B, and then we get a C, which looks to push us down back into this lower target box. But as long as we actually stay above this 0854 and we don't get a sustained break below that zone, we do have potential to see this starting to develop some kind of impulsive structure here. Now, when we are looking for impulses, it is also possible we could see something like this as 1, 2 here, then we get another 1, 2 here, and then we start to look to break through the levels like this. But at the moment, we need to just be careful, because this move down can be counted as 5 waves. So unless we break back above this high here, we need to be cautious of that idea of seeing that continuation to the downside. Coming in here and having a look at the daily pivots, what we can see is that we are currently underneath our central lines here, which is sitting at this 940 to this 936 level. If we fail to reclaim these, we could see price look to push back down to some of these lower zones for today, being 923, 918, and 908 as possible downside targets for today. This would still align with the idea of this being an A, B, and a C, where we could see price looking to come back down into these lows, would still align with, the possibility of seeing price looking to rally to the upside afterwards, as long as this low maintains here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if we do see price come down. If we do see price actually look to reclaim these central lines, I will be keeping an eye out here on these higher areas here of this 948, this 953, 963, and this 968 level as potential upside targets. Now, if we do see something like these moves to the upside, I will be keeping an eye on some of these highs here that are particularly aligning with these. We could see some kind of a reaction off them. But if we do now move over here onto the weekly pivots, what we can see is that we are currently underneath our central lines. But these are also pretty much unchanged from the previous week. They're slightly lower, but there's not a lot of difference between them. Now, this can indicate one of two things. This can be potentially saying that we're going to see some sideways price action playing out here, or alternatively, it means we could start to see a break. Now, this break could be to the downside or to the upside. If we remain below these central lines, which are sitting here at this 960 to this 950, then the probabilities become more likely we're going to see a push down. Targets to the downside for this week is this 890. We have this 836 and this level here of this 0771. Now, if we do manage to reclaim these levels and we see price pushing back up here and we get back above the 960 level, we do have potential to come and test this 1010, 1074, and this 1129 as potential upside targets for this week. So this will be interesting to see how we react, because if we do see this move push back up here as an A, a B, and a C, this could align with actually coming back up here and looking to test some of these higher levels, as well as this channel line that we've got directly above us. So going to be keeping an eye on this moving forward throughout the week. Now, moving over here onto the monthly pivots, what we can see here is that once again we are underneath these central lines. Now, the resistance here is going to be between this 956, 981, and this 10 cents on the dot. So effectively what we're looking for here is if we fail to push back above these, we do have the bias to see bearish price action, where we could see a move down towards this 0771. We have 0609, and all the way down here we have 0398 as potential downside targets. If we do see price actually looking to push back up here and we manage to reclaim these central lines, this opens up the possibility of seeing a rally to the upside, where we could see interaction here with this 1142, which would bring us back into this yellow target box that we've got here. We have this 1351 and this 1511 as potential upside targets for this month. So that would align more with the idea of seeing something like a breakout. If we do start to see interaction with these higher levels, we'll have to keep an eye on this to see exactly how it develops. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.